Sometimes the waiting is the hardest part. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Roman Collective podcast. I'm Trisha, the host. I'm also the founder of the Roman Collective, a certified human design reader and an intuitive. So I have been doing so many readings and just out and about meeting a lot of people. And I've heard from so many of you, I think that there is a common theme happening right now. A lot of people are going through career pivots. You're going through career transitions where you're feeling like this isn't aligned anymore. What's next for me? Or maybe you already kind of have the idea and you're like, okay, now I want to leave this job. And so I know that taking that jump can be so scary. And so today I'm going to talk through some of how I ended up leaving my corporate job and how that looked for me, how I knew the signs, how I found out my business, and just getting a little bit more in depth into that. If you want the full arc story, you can go to episode 1, which is where I kick everything off of like how I basically landed here in this moment in time. I talk a little bit more about like my own personal journey in that. I want to get a little bit more into like the understanding of it and like also give some tips for you guys that you can take and implement and how you can figure out, okay, this job isn't aligned for me or I'm ready for a career pivot. What's next? One synchronicity that was coming to mind this week that keeps popping up. So I think that there's still a thread that is going to finish out this story, but regardless, I will still share the synchronicity. And let me tell you guys, you know, I live for one. I live for a sign in synchronicity. I have had so many throughout the years. It is just so crazy. And I talk about this in episode 5 too, of how to find your own side synchronicities. Once you have more awareness and more of like, oh, I'm feeling like I'm living in alignment, then these things just naturally come and find you. So it's not like you have to like go out into a world and be like, I'm going to go find a sign today. Getting into the mindset of that, just being present with it. Mine started for me, this was one of the signs and one of the threads that has taken me through building my own business. This started back in May of 2025. I had just launched the Roman Collective in April of 2025. So this was just a month after. I was still full-time in my corporate job. I was building this business on the side. And I had met with a psychic and I was talking to her and I was telling her, you know, I'm just feeling so drained from my current corporate job. Like, I'm just feeling so burnt out. And she was telling me, she's like, every ounce of you knows that you're not meant to be at this job. She goes, I think you should really listen to Sarah Blakely. She is the founder of Spanx. I have a really great podcast episode for you to listen to. And she was like, I think hearing her story and hearing her message is going to resonate a lot with you because of how she approached her business and how she just held the vision so true and just how she kept that aliveness and that excitement about her business. Like, she believed in herself. And so she was like, I think that this story would be really helpful for you. So like, okay, great. So she sent me the podcast episode. After our call later that day, I went for my daily walk and I was listening to it. And I just remember during this podcast episode with her, I just felt so inspired. I was like, I just resonate so much with Sarah Blakely's energy. I just loved how she had this vision for Spanx. She really believed in it. She had to take a little bit of steps to actually get it big into what it is today, but just hearing the foundation of her story just gave me a lot of inspiration for my own. I remember listening to this. So again, this was in May of 2025. I listened to it, never really like brought it up again. I think I recommended this podcast to a couple of friends. January of 2026, so this past January. And I had just quit my corporate job. I was on a leave because I became so burnt out that I was like, I cannot go back to this job. I think I want a bridge job, something that I can do part-time that will help my business, so something that will get me into the world of these people where people who are excited about gatherings, people who are interested in human design readings, and somewhere that will help support and foster my business, because I felt the corporate job was taking me away from it. It had run its course where I was like, okay, obviously because I'm so burnt out and I'm so drained, it is taking too much from me. I was like, okay, I really want a bridge job, something that just kind of help give a little bit of foundation of income while I'm building this business up. Looking at a couple wellness places back in January, I had gotten my resume ready. I was like obviously back into my business because I had to pause it for a little bit of time while I was on leave. So I was so excited to be able to step into my business again. And so I was like building that up, letting all that creativity come through again. And I was like, okay, I'm going to start looking, just getting everything out there for a potential part-time job. I had applied to a couple different wellness spaces. I felt like intuitively that was the right track. I live in Austin, Texas, which Austin is a huge wellness space. There's so many wellness spaces here. It's a very spiritual entrepreneurship city. So I was already very lucky to have that within my current city. I was waiting for the right role. So it was like January, I had sent out resumes. Then it was beginning of March, and I had just gotten back from my birthday trip. I was in London, I was in Paris, and it was just so great to be able to like get away for a while. I come back here, and it was like maybe I think a week after I got back. I was at my acupuncturist appointment, and I was talking to her, and she was telling me, I really think you should go check out this wellness space. She's like, I think this is perfect for you to go to personally. They do co-working. They also have a sauna and cold plunge. She's like, I think this vibe is like right up your element. And she's like, I think this will help regulate you and just another place we can help as a next step in your healing. And she's like, just check this place out. I used to go there. So we talked about it on a Wednesday. Friday rolls around. I get a call from this wellness place. And you guys, I didn't even look up this place. I had sent my resume to them back in January. So it had been months prior. I forgot all about them until my acupuncturist had brought it up that week. How wild that 2 days later, I didn't even reach out to them. I didn't do anything during those 2 days. They just happened to contact me. I got a voicemail from them. They're like, hey, we want you to come in for this position to interview for. It's a part-time. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like perfect. I was also interviewing at a couple places, and how I know when things are not aligned for me, again, this is very much in the human design lens. So if you're curious about yours, you can pull your free chart on my website. Just go to romancollective.com. It'll be on the homepage. You can click get my free chart. So you can kind of figure out yours. And if you want a reading, we could always dive deeper. I'm a sacral generator. So what that means is that I have this gut feeling, and I know if something's a yes or no for me in an instant. I can be in a space and I can just feel so excited and so lit up. Again, for me, I know when I'm on the right track is when I'm so excited I want to go and I want to call and tell someone, or I also get a lot of ideas going. So I'm like, oh, I could just see this happening. I could see that happening. I know when something's not for me is when I feel like constricted and I just kind of feel like, oh, this feels a little icky. Doesn't feel like it fits me. I had a couple other interviews, and I noticed I kept getting no's from my sacral. And so in the past, I may have just kept going with fear, where I was like, I just need a part-time job, so I'm just going to take it. I kept waiting, and I kept being like, no, none of these feel aligned. There's something out there that must feel aligned then. I kept waiting. I had gone to another wellness space I did an interview with, and they were great. I had gone to there multiple times before, just like personally. And at the beginning of the interview, I was so excited. And then towards the end, I was like, I gotta get out of here. I was just like, I can't do it. Like, I was like, I need to leave. And then once I got home, for some reason, I felt like I just wanted to cry. And I was like, okay, this is just a sign for me. This is like a sign that it doesn't resonate, it doesn't fit, because I don't want to be feeling that every time I have to go in there. If I'm in there and I'm feeling drained and just so exhausted, that is not, then nope, that's a no for me. I just had to honor that, and I had to follow it instead of like trying to get in my head of like justifying it. I'm like, my gut has spoken, I'm going to follow it. I had kept waiting and waiting for the right position. This one had popped up. And I go in for the interview on a Monday. And as soon as I get in there, I just like, I kind of knew, like, I just had a really good feeling about it. I could just like, I almost could, which again, like I'm psychic, so I could see like my future self working there. Like some of the stuff just felt familiar, even though it was my first time in this place. I go up for the actual interview. We sit down, we're talking, and she asked me about my human design. And I was like, oh, I'm in the right place. Then I'm telling her about my gathering stuff. She's like, oh my gosh. She's like, why don't you just bring people here for your gatherings? Like, you could use our space. We have like so many different rooms. And I was like, perfect. I'm like, I literally manifested this perfect place where it's a part-time job. People are more in their element. They're gonna let me use their space to actually be able to like bring people together, so I'll have a space for my gatherings. I was like, it was a win-win all around. And I remember after that meeting, I was like, oh my gosh, I just feel so excited. Like, I just remember I was like, finally, like, I feel like I found the right place. I feel like these are the people that I'm here to connect with. And so the next day they called me. They're like, hey, we got you, like, we want you to come in. You got the position. This is just also a reminder that things can happen so fast. I got that call on a Friday, went in on a Monday, and then they called me on Tuesday like, okay, we're ready for you. When can you start? And so things can just happen very quickly. So sometimes in our minds, we have a very logical brain of a timeline. We're like, okay, then this is going to happen. We have to go through a round of interviews and it's going to take forever. I'm just here to tell you that when things feel like they're in alignment, they can happen so quick. They can happen like that. They just go fast. The next week, I'm starting my training. And I go in there, and it was so crazy, you guys. So mind you, remember I had talked about at the beginning of this all about the podcast episode I listened to with Sarah Blakely that I was recommended back in May of 2025. So we are now in March of 2026. And I'm on the first day of this job doing my training. I'm talking with the CEO of this new wellness company that I'm working for. We're upstairs, and he goes, yeah, you know, we have like some VIP guests coming in today. He's like, something about the owner of Spanx. And I was like, excuse me, what? And I was like, how crazy. So it ended up, it wasn't Sarah directly, but it was her husband, Jesse, who's also a famous entrepreneur. And I was like, how crazy is this? I talked to the psychic who had recommended this to me. Here I am, quit my corporate job. I just had to trust that leap of faith. And here I now am in the same room as these people that I had been recommended by a psychic almost a year prior. I got to talk to Jessie briefly, but the fact that we were in the same room and I'm in interaction with these same people at a new part-time job that is also funding and supporting my business, how crazy is that? Like, you can't make this stuff up. I think it's just because, again, I was in alignment. I trusted my intuition all the way through. I just kept following it. I just kept waiting. And sometimes the waiting is the hardest part when you're in that time of that in-between. And the in-between can feel so uncomfortable with all that uncertainty, but just keep following what you feel true and just keep knowing that your body will never lie to you. Your body will always know where it feels safe, where the energy feels aligned, and where it does not. For the career track of it, my sort of frame of mind when I was going through a lot of this, I think that I had to settle a lot of my nervous system, because my nervous system for a long time was gripping at this corporate job until I eventually had to really be like released from it. And so the universe was like, time to go. We got to get you out. I just remember my nervous system was so tense around it. I would be in therapy and I'd really be gripping the couch and we would be talking about like maybe how to leave, what are my options are. I remember I would be gripping and I would be like, it scares me so much to leave right now. I had to take just like small steps to get there. And I think that the leave was definitely the best for me because, again, I was so exhausted and so drained. I was like, I just need to get out of this place. Like, I can't even function anymore. Let me leave and then I can then make decisions, because I think when you're in a very much like a survival frame of mind, it feels really hard to make sound decisions that you feel like is in alignment with you. I had started my business, and so I had the business idea already. I have the vision. I already know that I started it. I just need to give my body and some time and myself some rest so then I can actually take this into funding my business, making sure that I am showing up the best within my business. And it makes so much sense looking back now, because I think that the level that my reserves were at were nowhere near for what I needed to be now. Like, for all the opportunities, for all the partnerships, to show up for clients, to show up for people, to show up for gatherings, I really had to pour into myself first and make sure that I knew my own future vision and really taking care of me, and then I could then show up for other people. I think even if I had all these opportunities, let's say last summer, I don't think they would have been to the same degree that they would have been now, because I think I would have felt so overwhelmed, I would have felt so tired that I don't think I could have taken it all on. During my leave, I was like, I think I have to let this job go. When you are feeling in that place, it can feel extremely scary. Like, I remember I would wake up and I knew it was my fear, because I get fear a lot. I have a lot of anxiety that comes through when it's happening for me. It comes through on my chest. I could feel like the anxiety was like layered on top, and then my intuition was underneath. I knew, like, it just kind of felt like a little sandwich almost, where I just felt like this fear was like pressing down on me. Where I would wake up, I would be so overwhelmed. I would sometimes go to bed, I would be stressed. I'd be like, okay, well, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna get money? How do I actually fund this business? How do I, all the what ifs were just going through my mind, and I would just be crying. I would be so scared. It took me some time, and it was until December 2025, and this was also the year of the snake. So if anyone was following that is when we were shedding a lot of things that were no longer aligned. My intuition became so clear. I was out for a walk and I was just feeling so empowered. These little streets that are right by my apartment, I feel like that they're like divinely placed, because a lot of them are like manifest lane. They're like integrity, diligent, like Independence Way. The names are so funny, but I feel like every time I walk over there, whatever I see, like one of those street signs, like I feel like they're always end up being a sign for me. I was out for a walk and I just saw one of those signs and I was like, I just feel so empowered to leave. I was like, it is time. I need to step out of this. My intuition was so clear, but you guys, I didn't know what was on the other side. I just had to trust it. I was like, I have no idea what this is going to lead me. I have no idea where I'm going to go. I don't know. I just need to take this step, because if I hold on to this, it is going to keep draining me, and I'm not going to have the capacity to call all these things in that I actually want. On paper, people were probably like, why is this girl leaving this corporate job? On paper, you're making all this money. You should just stay there. Then you can just build your business. When you are following your intuition and you are falling in a very different frame of mind, things don't have to look logical on paper. And sometimes they're not supposed to, because that's the whole point. You're following your intuition, and your intuition knows things in the now, and it can sense things that is going to help set you up for success. That's always been my compass. And let me tell you, anytime I have deviated from my intuition, anytime I have talked myself out of it, one roundabout way or another, I always kind of end up where I need to go anyway. So even if I maybe in that decision decide to stay in my corporate job, I fully wholeheartedly believe at some point I would have been pushed out, because I think that the universe was like, this is no longer in alignment for you. I just felt like I actually got to leave on my own terms, and to leave in a way that I was like, this is a clean break. I'm not just going to return from this leave. I'm just going to let it do its thing and just move on. Let me tell you, once I actually released it, it took a little bit of time. So January and February were very tough. I had a lot of overcoming a lot of that scarcity mindset, a lot of that money fear, a lot of that gripping sort of sense, but I still knew innately within me, this business, this purpose, this passion has been placed on my heart for a reason. And there is a reason why I keep coming back to it, and why I feel like I need to keep pursuing it, because I'm here to help so many people. I'm here to help hundreds of thousands of people. I'm not here to just be sitting in a little corporate job behind a desk, clacking on my computer. No, that was not my future path. It was for a little bit, right? That actually got me to where I am today, so I am grateful for it. But I knew in the future that was not for me anymore, and I had known that for years. So it was like, this is the time. This is the time to do it. I feel so grateful though, because if I didn't leave that job, I don't think I would have had all these opportunities I've been having now, where I was able to actually build out so many ideas that I had for my business. Even this podcast, I had found this piece of paper that I had wrote back in April of 2024. I was still living in Chicago, and I remember this day so vividly. I was sitting at my corporate desk downtown at the office. I was starting to get ideas coming in for my business. I had the idea for a year prior to that. I can't be in the space to be calling in all these like creative ideas. I was like, I gotta just leave. So I just packed up my stuff and I just left. I'm like, whatever. Though you were a little bit like flexible where you could like leave if you needed to. So I was like, well, I can't be in these walls, because the creativity is going to be stifled in here, and this is hitting it now, and I need to write this down immediately. And one of the things that I had wrote down was this podcast. I actually forgot about it. I had the idea for a little bit, and like I knew it was something I wanted to do, but I forgot then. I had wrote about this podcast and like what I wanted the topics to be. And what's so crazy is, you either consciously or unconsciously, a lot of the topics that I had wrote down are ones that I actually felt intuitively that I wanted to share. So it's almost like I was kind of building the little blocks then for what is now the Roman Collective. I wouldn't have had all these opportunities. I think it was a lot of overcoming the fear was a huge portion of this journey for me. And even still now, even still sometimes, I still get fearful. I still get limiting beliefs. I still sometimes get into that scarcity mindset. I still get all of those, like everything coming in. This is just a reminder that you're human and those will come in. It's just learning to have the tools to help work with those and learn about those. This is just my body trying to protect me and keep me feel safe. I just felt like once I released it, then all these things have been able to come in, and I just feel so grateful because there's so many people that I've met, so many opportunities just started to appear. Just like that part-time job. It just appeared. It just happened. So once you step into that journey that you know is for you, things will start to align that are there for you. How do you take and implement this? If you are feeling a little bit like, oh, this is just not for me, I'm kind of in a place that I just feel like I don't know what's next, but I know this isn't for me. A couple things you can do. One is, if you don't already have like an idea, it doesn't even have to be entrepreneurship. If you don't know like what your next role will be, if you don't know what you want to do next, one good place to start, I always recommend, whatever you're doing in your current day-to-day, what do you feel like is making you feel excited? What is feeling like you feel fulfilled? Start to tap in there and write those down. So start to really get a sense of like, oh, I really love talking with people, or I actually really love being able to like go out and about during the day. I like to go here for meetings. I like to go there. It could be so small. Just take anything that is feeling like this is actually making me feel lit up during the day. Then start to notice if there is a trend over time. So you could maybe do this for a week, do it for a month, whatever feels aligned. And just start to take notice, and then start to go back and then revisit and see like, okay, I was actually feeling really excited about this during this time. I noticed that this was happening over a couple days or over a couple weeks. So those will start to give you a little bit of clues. This is where I'm trying to go next. Just tap in there. Another idea, if you are feeling completely lost, start to go back to your inner child. You could either do inner child meditations. You could start to talk to your family. You could even just reflect and meditate on it. Any thing that you loved as a kid, because when you are so young, those are things that you just innately are so excited about. I was even just around a kid the other day, and I just feel like that they have such a fun energy. I feel like kids are just so high energy, and they're just doing the things that they naturally love. They're naturally excited about it. They tell you whatever's on their mind. They just go and do whatever they want to do. They just want to play with whatever. I feel like tapping back into that will help remember that part of you, because sometimes that was also something that you're here to do, or something that you were just innately so excited about. Then before society got in the way, before you had to go make responsible job decisions or responsible positions, and like the story that you're told yourself of, I need to play safe because this is what gets me in society, is what gets me to stay in the tribe and to stay okay and to help belong. Before all of that happened, start to really tap in and start to see like, okay, what was I so innately like loved to do as a child? For me, I always gravitated towards events. I just always loved events. I used to run like a talent show in our garage growing up. I used to have people come in. I was the MC. I used to plan this all out. And I also used to love writing too. Writing was always a big thing that I always loved to do. Even once I went into like high school, I was editor-in-chief of my high school newspaper, because again, I just like loved writing, but I also loved being able to like connect with people and just like bring stories to life. Then when I was in college, I again was still gravitating towards event PR roles. I had an internship at an event place, which I loved. It was so much fun, such a great time. And I also planned weddings on campus too, which was a blast. I also helped out with that. Events in a similar frame was always very much within my sphere. I always loved psychology too. Psychology was always something that I was always loving to learn more about, just the way we think, the way we behave, the way we interact. It's just kind of funny because now it's like I gravitated towards human design, which is essentially it's like a personality test, right? It's just a lot more involved. It's just so funny that I ended up finding that, because I was like, well, I was innately just loving psychology in the past. Like I would always look up like little psychology facts. Psychology was always one of my favorite classes. I even got a minor in it in college. These are just examples of looking for things. If you were feeling so lost, you're like, I don't know what the next path is. Just look back, start to look in the past, start to see what you innately were excited about as a child, even if you can't think back that far. You can think back to middle school, high school, college, anything that was in the past that you were feeling so excited about, just look back into that. And then start to sit with it a little bit. You don't have to figure it out right in that moment. That's okay. Things will come to you when it's time. Always just follow your intuition. So however your intuition looks for you. For me, mine's very much gut-based, and it's taken me a long time to like build up that muscle for my intuition to really trust it. But just start to notice how intuition comes through for you. Do you feel like it's more of like a sense and a feeling? Is it more of like you have to visualize? Do you feel like you hear things? Like whatever is coming through for you. And again, intuition is extremely quiet. Intuition is just an inner knowing. You don't argue with it. You don't go back and forth with it. It is just clear and direct, and you just feel like you innately know. That is what some of the signs are to keep tabs for your intuition. Over time, you will then get more ideas. You will get the spark of like, oh, I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to do that. I'm ready to go follow this. Just trust it and trust yourself, because believe in yourself and know that you can do it, because you absolutely can do anything. Anything is possible. You can achieve any single thing. You can make money so many different ways. Money does not just have to come through a corporate job. I am here firsthand to tell you that that does not have to come through a corporate job. Yes, it is taking me a little bit of time to like build out all my streams and all my incomes, but let me tell you, this to me feels so much more in alignment with me. I never thought one day I was just gonna wake up and be an entrepreneur. Now entrepreneurship makes so much sense, and now I'm like, wow, I couldn't see myself living life without it. But before, I maybe wouldn't have identified myself as like an entrepreneur in the past. I was like, oh, I don't see that in my path. But then it just kind of happened. And now that it's here, I'm like, wow, this makes so much sense. I just love having my income in so many different streams, where to me that feels like so much abundance and everything can come up instead of just having it in one place like a corporate job. And once that's taken away, then it's like, well, then what do you do? So it's almost like a false security. When you have it so spread out and across so many things, I'm like, then there's so much that you can like focus on one thing to help the income, and then the next one you could help more of the income come in. To me, that felt like so much more expansiveness and so much more opportunity to come in, because I feel like I was able to expand upon that instead of feeling small and then having to go back into this corporate job of like one income salary, when there's actually a multitude of ways to make money. This is just a reminder that if corporate is feeling icky, if it's not feeling like it's resonating for you, just start to explore all that. You don't have to leave the job tomorrow. You don't have to make a rash decision. Just start to tap in and see where the right next step is for you. And then just start to explore, start to have fun. Just get back into your creativity. Just start to like look around like, ooh, this is making me feel excited, or I want to do this. Let's say you even have your idea, or you have like, okay, this is the role I want to do, or this is something else I want to take in mind. Then start to nurture that. You don't have to tell people right away. You could tell trusted people who actually make you feel so excited, and someone who is going to foster you, and someone who's like, yes, I can see this vision for you, someone who gives you inspiration. So really take care of any ideas and anything that you feel so excited about. Just start to nurture them. They're like a little seed, and then eventually they're going to grow, and then they're going to get roots, and then they're going to expand into a big tree. Just nurture the seed, just water it, and just keep trusting that it's going to grow within its own time. It will get there. Listen, I'm learning every single day. Entrepreneurship is such a journey. I have ups days, I have down days. Like, it can be a wild ride, but I wouldn't change a thing. And I am so grateful that I left that job, because I left what was no longer aligned behind. You can do this too. You can be able to really navigate. You could have a new opportunity. There's so much out there for every single person. Like, there's so many opportunities. There's a lot that you can do. The one thing that I just kept doing was like, I just feel so resilient is always my thing. And I'm always really good at like staying consistent with things. I think consistency and resilience is huge. Some days I might post on social media and some posts go great and others they don't. And I'm like, I just got to keep going with it. I just have to stay consistent with it. And I just have to keep going and going. And like, I can't turn back now. I can't just quit and just give up. That's not the option. This is my passion. This feels like this is on my mind for a reason. And now I'm so excited to bring this in to fruition. You can do it too. I believe in you. Everything is possible and anything is possible. Just start to get back into your creativity. Just listen to your intuition and just trust all those signs that are coming to you, and you will land on your feet and things will work out. And if you want to dive a little bit deeper into like understanding, like I feel so completely lost, again, human design is a great place to start. And I talk to a lot of people who are going through a lot of career transitions. So if you are feeling like you're in a life transition right now, you don't really know what the next step is, I'm more than happy to read your chart. You could always reach out to me. We could always talk through that process together. And then you could also grab your free chart in the time too, if you want to just take a peek at there. There's always an option here for you too, if you need it. I would love to be able to look at your chart and to help you really navigate some of that as well. So I'm sending you guys so much love and abundance, and I believe in you and you can do this. I'll see you guys next time.